And so that's why I love these new, we call them squires or pages, because they're holding the sword for the knight, but they're also learning as well. And we'll put them side by side with the older agents, and they can feed off of that energy. And so we just have that sort of environment here with the new agents.
Well, I love the squires pages. And I also love just the personalized attention and the idea that everyone is growing and that they're going from being receptacles where they're just taking in information to contributing, and then they're critiquing themselves so that they're always trying to see how they can improve. And so, I've always heard this and I've always said this. You've actually taught someone when you can leave and they can teach themselves, when they replace you. They don't need you to say, hey, that's a run-on. They know what a run-on is. They don't need you to say, oh, remember about the audience, remember about the occasion, remember about the exigence, remember about the purpose, because as they're writing, they're thinking, I need to remember the rhetorical situation. So they have embedded it within themselves, and then they have been taught because it is now part of them. And now they can notice, oh, I forgot to do that. Let me fix that. Let me do that differently next time. So that's a great thing that you are kind of sitting there, in a sense, coaching them through learning how to critique themselves and learning how to better themselves, and giving them, that ability, that self-awareness. It goes way beyond a job, and it goes way beyond education. A person that can be self-aware and self-reflective, they can go and do a lot of great things, because that is where you're able to push yourself and see where you're not pushing yourself, where you're not at your top, because we never are at our top. We always can do more. We can expand. We can learn different things, so being self-reflective and trying to engage those other skills and better ourselves, continually, and keep learning, that's a great thing. So I wanted you to tell people where they can find you, and if they wanted to reach out to you. I got some of the things scrolling down at the bottom about you, but if you wanted to tell them, for the people who are just listening and won't necessarily see this on YouTube or on TikTok or LinkedIn or wherever, I'm going to post it later.
I don't see any good airline flights. That was my first recommendation, is to come down and come visit me, Zen.